the first year there was that variance. For second years, we asked all the universities to ensure that all the programs are the same cost. What we are looking at even now is to see the cost of the programs. Is it the ideal cost? And if we can be able to crack that and ensure that the cost of each program is reduced, then that will be able to assist the students. Because that is what we are now looking at, to see that the costs that, for example, you are paying for a BA program, which is currently at 122. And remember, what we have noted is that some of these programs, if you actually look at the number of students who are in those programs, then you can be able to maybe have a small concession to support these students so that they don't pay a lot. However, the fees that has been paid in the universities over the years, since 1989, the official fees is 16,000. What Kenyans pay in a national school today is 53,000. So it is cheaper in the university than in a national school.
But it's only cheaper on paper. When you actually go there, that is not the price.
And that is what I'm saying, that we need to have, and that is why we don't want them to pay much, much more. He has talked about accommodation at 42,000, and that is the reality. And the model had capped so that there is no extra fees that these students are paying. So if you are saying 16,000 on paper, but you are being charged more, that should not be the case.
So the model is the ones on the fault here. Are they the ones who are going against the law, or are they the ones exploiting the students?
At that point, when they were paying 16,000, other charges came in. And that is why we had to have a discussion with them, and we agreed that the fees will not be able to change. If you look at the new funding model, they are not charged any extra fees. So that if a student is paying a certain amount, that is the only amount they'll pay.
Okay, they're here to answer. Are you charged any extra fee?
Yeah, I want to assure you, actually, these first years and second years, apart from the fees that they're paying from the new funding model, they're also paying the extra fees of accommodation.
So yeah, I said accommodation, they do pay.
Unless you agreed on paper, but on ground they are charging, as you've just said. But on ground they are paying the fees plus the extra accommodation fees.
No, accommodation, I've said, because you choose the accommodation you go to. You cannot dictate.
The one in the school premises.
Yes, but what we are saying is that previously, if you look at the model you are in, you are paying 16,000, and then you are given computer fees. At the end of the day, how much total amount were you paying?
For me, I'm still paying 26,000 shillings per semester, so roughly 52 per year.
You see, on paper, that fee should be 16,000. That is why I'm saying, if you have that about 50,000, if you translate the same amount to a student who is in this and other new funding, you'll find the figures are the same.
But wait, just explain that a bit more clearly. So he's paying 52, is he supposed to pay 52 or not?
What I'm saying is this, he's paying 52, he should pay 52 because there are other charges.
Okay.
The universities charge, there's library fees and many other charges, isn't it?
Yes.
Ideally, the tuition fees is 16,000 plus those other charges. In the new model, there is no extra charges. The only amount you pay is that tuition fees and the accommodation. He still pays 50,000 plus accommodation, isn't that right?
Yes.
So what I'm saying is this. In the new funding model, if you are paying 52, if you are if you have funded the most, ideally, even the tuition amount you'll pay, for example, if I take, even if it's the highest medicine, which is at 612, if you, at that 612, you will only pay 30,000, which is lower than what he is paying. That is if you're in band 1. But if you're in band 5, then you pay about 244,000. And that is where the problem is. And that is the conversation they are talking about. Why can't we look at band 4 and 5? And we are saying we need to look at them. And by look at them is that when we look at the cost of 612, is it the ideal cost? That is where we start from. Do we need a stabilization fund? For example, to say that since we need doctors, or these engineering courses, then can we have a stabilization fund and we say that we will support them extra so that maybe each of these programs we can add another 50,000. And those are the views that have been given to the committee. So that is why I'm saying it is work in progress. We have heard the students and we are working on these proposals so that at the end of the day, when you are funding a student, the full cost of that program is paid so that when Mazayo comes out of the University of Nairobi, he is a university student or now a graduate who is fully backed. Because the argument that we have heard from our colleagues is that if you fund DUC, we are currently funding DUC at 38%, then you expect to get a student who is 38% fully prepared, not 100%. So when they join the workforce, it means the new employer will start training these students again. And that's why I said it's a bigger conversation. It is something that we need to work on as a team. Yeah. We should not say that it is ended now. And even the forms, are you getting help loan?
Yes.
You are in the old. That is the same form that we have been using, but improving it every year since 1997. The application form was filled by all students. It has not changed. What has been happening is improvement on the data that is required. And when many of the students went to, let's say, 1997, that form was longer. Over the years, what has been happening is that, number one, the form has been shortened so that we can reduce the time a student spends filling the form. Initially, it used to be a manual form put across the country. Right now, that form is online, and it is the same application form the old funding model uses and the new funding model. What has actually changed is the amounts, because we said the cost of the program was not said. And Mazayo hit it on the nail when he said that the costs are a bit high. And I said some of those programs, yes, the costs are high and we are looking into that. However, the tool which is being used has not changed much from the old and the new funding model. The MTI, what we are doing is how do we gather new information? How do we continue improving it so that it can give us better results? Remember, Trevor, we are coming from a situation where we need to educate the students. And I think that is where the biggest challenge is, that when they are admitted, they need to sit down and take time with their parents to fill in the information that is required. That is the only challenge that I'm saying that is there. So it is about communication. But the tool remains the same. There is no different tool that was being used before and now. The same tools they used to fill online is the same tool the new students in first and second year are using to fill.